Hello, I'm Christina, and I'm here with Martina, and we're your podcast hosts for Everyday Ordinary, Extraordinary Women. We are deep divers and avid students of life and powerful facilitators for healing. In real life, I'm an intuitive healer who loves to blend massage therapy with energy work to provide customized holistic services for my clients.
And I'm a life coach specializing in parent and women empowerment, and I'm also a sound healer. And we both incorporate crystals, essential oils, angelic Reiki, oracle decks, and of course, intuitive guidance into our work.
We were inspired to create this podcast after pondering this question. What would a world look like where we can be inspired by every person? Usually, we're very quick to compare and judge ourselves and others. And when we do that, everybody's losing. Depending on my point of view, I can either feel small because I come out lacking, or arrogant and dismissive because I feel superior. Those are the only two options, and neither of those make us feel very good. So here's our thought. Someone's everyday normal is someone else's extraordinary. Judgment comes from our first impressions, so we invite you, the listener, to go beyond your first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There's inspiration at every corner, in everyone, if we're willing to look. And today we're happy to welcome Rachael to the program. So, Rachael, go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on your beautiful podcast. It really is an honor. So I'm Rachael Wedgley. I'm 51. I have been married for 29 years this March, which means if you do the maths, that I was 22, nearly 23 when I got married. We have a 22-year-old daughter and two dogs. And we live an hour outside London in a county called Essex. I live in a town called Thorpe Bay. We've got the estuary at the end of our road, so I live near water. I am a lifelong healer. I am a teacher, a friend, daughter, sister, and just really happy to be here and to be of service. And I'm excited to see what questions you have in store for me today.
Fantastic. We are so happy to have you here. And we are just so honored to have you with us. And just the work that you're doing excites us so much that we haven't even studied with you, but we know people who have studied with you. And we can't wait till it's our turn to um, be, I don't know, be blessed with your knowledge. So we can't wait to hear the answers that come up on the podcast today.
Oh, we'll just have to see how that flows then, won't we?
Yeah. So, Rachael, if we really knew you, what would we know about you?
You would know that I am a accredited sound healer. I am passionate about my gongs. I play my gongs. I just play one a day. Every day. There are no days off, even Christmas Day. First thing in the morning. It is my ritual. It is my go-to. It is my healing, my emotional balance. It's how I take out my anger. It's how I connect. It deeply enriches my life. From the first time I went to somebody's gong bath, I laid there and I wasn't really listening to what they were doing. I just laid there thinking, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go learn. I'm going to go away. I'm going to find a master and I'm going to learn it. So that's the first thing I want to say you would find out about me. The other thing, I do love crystals very, very much. I teach, or I used to teach crystal healing, but in a personal life, my family mattered so much to me and my dogs. They, I mean, they're outside my door now with the hump because they're not around me trying to be on the camera and be in conversation with us. But I love animals, and it sounds so cheesy, but I cannot be without my dogs. I miss them so much. Um, what else? I am a true water being. I need to be around water, whether it's going to the beach, whether or taking a really luxurious hot bath and sinking my shoulders and coming out like a prune. I have to be near water. It is who I am. And even to having a beautiful water feature built in my garden, because I just want that constant sound of trickling. So yeah, gongs, animals, family, water. That's me in a nutshell.
So good. All right, I want to know, are you a water sign that craves water, or are you something that needs water for balance?
Well, interestingly, I am my predominant sign. I'm an earth sign. I am Taurus.
Okay.
However, my rising and my rising is Cancer. And I hope people are not judging me now. And my moon is Scorpio. So I'm a balance of kind of grounding and being sensible and hard work and a mix of my emotions in that as well. So, but my
Yeah.
divine original blueprint was a dolphin. So at the core of me, I am, well, we are all water beings because we're all made of water.
Yeah.
But at the core of me is my divine blueprint is that I am an aquatic being, and that just happens to be able to uh, be very grounded as well. So to ground that energy in, and that wisdom that I try to find that doesn't always appear.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Martina and I are both fiery Aries, but I could actually speak for myself. I need water to balance me. So, yeah. And I do have a Scorpio partner. So, talk about balance.
My husband, he's Sagittarius. He's fire. My daughter's Aries. So yeah, we need. So I'm the ground in between their fire, and my little bit of water diffuses whatever we need to diffuse.
Yeah, beautiful.
So good. So, Rachel, tell us a funny, silly, or embarrassing story about yourself.
Oh goodness, I want to say there's so many. Okay, I have one. Please don't judge me because just about to take a huge walk of shame. Okay. Um, but that actually makes sense of why I did it, given the fact of what I do for my living as a healer and connecting to who I do. So, um, my younger self, as a 11 or 12-year-old, used to go to a convent. And this one particular day, the nuns had just left our convent and they'd gone to a sister school quite some way away, a good few hours drive. So we had and we went to visit the sister convent to see the nuns. And I imagine that, we had lessons, we went to mass, and we went around the grounds. And like all good tours to, say, museums or stately homes, at the end of the day, there was a gift shop. I can't believe I'm telling this story. And it was an unmanned gift shop. So let me tell you that first of all. And displayed upon this beautiful table was beautiful books. There was Bibles, there was statues of Master Jesus, Mother Mary. There was bookmarks. Like it was so inviting. So I, as a young 11 or 12-year-old, I cast my gaze upon this table and my eyes locked in at this very small wooden plaque of Mother Mary. I looked at her, she looked at me, and a voice inside my head said, "You need to come home with me. You need to come home with me." The only problem is I didn't have any money on me. So I decided that I was going to take this plaque of Mother Mary. And what I'm trying to say is that I stole from the house of God a statue of Mother Mary because I knew being I like she meant everything to me. I loved her. Um, I can't believe I've told this story. That I have now been forgiven for my sins for the work that I do on this planet. But that is just how ironic is that, I have stolen under God's watchful eye a picture of Mother Mary, to which my mother still has. And I'm actually very proud of that story and slightly ashamed, but it just meant so much. And Mother Mary is such, like, she's all around my house. I have so many statues, but even at that young age, I just knew that there was something inside me that I needed to connect with her. And I'm not religious now at all. It's that deep spiritual connection to Mother Mary and what she brings us. So that is my, I would say, embarrassing and shameful story, is that I stole when the nuns had their backs turned to us. And um, don't judge me for that story, please.
No judgment. I mean, what I hear is this profound intuition that you had as a young child and this deep connection to Mother Mary that she told you she had to come home with you and you took her home. Like,
She really did, and I doubt you'll have many other guests on this show that to stealing.
no, no. Actually,
Well,
maybe.
it takes a lot of courage to admit it, right? It takes a lot of courage to bring out those secrets out into the open, right? And it's a way of setting us free in a way because we carry, like I know I stole, right? And
Oh,
and and we carry that like in our backpack with us and it's weighing us down and it's like, but we did that, right? We did that. It's
Yeah, we're carrying that guilt. It's like,
yeah,
I've done something really bad that I shouldn't, but I did it in God's house. That's
yeah.
even worse.
Well, and maybe it is, but it the other part that I'm hearing and what you're saying is like it made you who you are today, right?
It
Like
it did.
because it shaped you. Like I know my stealing shaped me. Like I know, like to the point
Can
where
we ask, what did you steal? Am I allowed to ask that?
yes, of course you can ask. So the first time it was we found 50 francs in my grandma's apartment. My cousin and I, we found it, right? And of course, we went to buy candy.
That's a lot of candy.
Yeah, well, we had some leftover afterwards, after some leftover afterwards. But um, I remember being questioned and denying it and denying it and denying it, but knowing that I had done that, right? I knew I had done it, right? And and we knew it was wrong because it's like, okay,
Mm.
well,
We
that's
do,
what
but we still did it.
we still did it, right? And that's just one of the many examples I have, right? Where it's like, yeah, uh, you know, to the point where today I remember we were in Central Park and this woman was jogging and the $20 bill fell out of her pocket and I picked it up and I ran after her to give it to her. You know,
Wow.
so that's the other that's part of who I became.
Yes, yes.
like so clear on, no, this is not mine, right? I walk into a store and there's money on the floor. I pick it up and put it on the counter. It's not mine, right? So that's why I'm saying it made you who you are, right? It's in a way one of those gifts that, can we put them to rest eventually because they came as gifts, right? They made you who you are today, right?
Absolutely. And Mother Mary quite clearly says, we were destined for each other, and I am forgiven.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful.
Rachel, what would you say your superpower is?
Superpower. Um, I mean, the boring one is that I am clairsentient and I feel everything. But I want to say, I feel one of my superpowers, or one of the things I'm good at, is dreaming and
Mm.
analyzing dreams. And I'm going to give you an example of this. Literally only happened a couple of days ago. So I have a lot of guidance and channeling come through my dreams. I have got journals and journals of dream diaries, of diagrams, pictures, conversations. I write everything down. I firmly believe in it, that everybody should keep a dream journal. But this was on Friday and Saturday. So Friday night's dream, waking up on Saturday. And I dreamt that I went to a friend's house who I've never actually been to this friend's house. She's a social media friend, but we have a really beautiful relationship. And I saw her. I saw this older man in this chair, and it felt like a very old Victorian house. It had full of, do you know the word knickknacks? It was full of ornaments and belongings, but it didn't feel like a modern house. It felt quite old. And I remember seeing this child asleep. This child had a mop of curly hair, and there was lots of newspapers around. And there was a few other details as well. And the next morning, that's really strange. So I messaged my friend and I said, "Oh, I had a dream about you last night." And I relayed everything that I saw. And then she told me that the day before, her nana, her grandmother, had died. And I was describing her nan's house. The man I saw in her chair was her grandfather in heaven. And my friend has a young son, and I thought the child was her, except the child was a girl. And then I realized the little girl sleeping with curly hair was my friend as a young girl. And her nana, grandmother, basically took me back to her home as if to say, "I'm with my husband now, I'm happy, I'm joyous," and it just felt really lovely. Um, but it was my kind of ability to translate that and understand kind of and picture what it all meant. And so quite often in my dreams, I receive messages for people, crystals appear, I go to different places. We all astral travel, we all go to places. It's not just something, that's unique, but it's just that um, I'm quite good at um, understanding what the dream message is about. And the interesting thing, ever since I was a child, water has appeared in every one, on most weeks, I have water appear in my dreams. And I thought once upon a time it was because I was emotionally unbalanced or I've got to get something off my chest. But it just means water is my home. It's that connection, it's that wisdom. And so I have had some epic dreams. I remember one dream that I was flying around in the cosmos. In fact, we was all clouds, and I remember being with the clouds and seeing this portal, this opening in the clouds. And I remember saying to my team of angels, are you with me? And they're, yes, we're with you. And I can still, even this was a couple of years ago, I can still vividly feel the energy, see the energy, hear the message. So I want to say, yeah, my superpower is remembering dreams, analyzing them, and then acting upon them. What is it they want me to do? What is it they're telling me? What is the underlying message? And I love dreaming. I do sleep with crystals under my pillow that facilitate that or help me remember or help me astral travel safely. But yeah, dreams, they are so powerful, so telling. And there's a lot of clearing in my dreams or in everybody's dreams. And so if we dream of, if we're running away, what are we running away from? What is that fear in our current lifetime that we're not willing to acknowledge? Or you can go back to different like different time frames or incarnations. Look at the walls, look at the patterns, look at, if you can, what you're wearing, or observe. The more you write down, the more you are likely to remember for the next time. But my advice to anyone listening to this is always go to bed and energetically protect yourself as well. That's really, really key. But I love dreaming. Do you both dream? Tell me.
I don't, I do sometimes, but I don't normally remember my dreams that clearly. But I've never kept a dream journal, so I'm now going to stick a notebook next to my bed. But I'm curious, are you willing to share what crystals you keep under your pillow to aid you in this?
Oh, absolutely. So, I'm quite cyclical, I'm also like that with my gong playing, depending on where the moon is as well. So I keep kyanite, which
Mhm.
helps with communication. It helps me connect into the moon. It
Blue
helps you remember.
kyanite or black
Blue
kyanite?
kyanite,
Okay.
blue. Black kyanite, good for cutting cords,
Yep.
but blue kyanite for helping me remember my dreams.
Okay.
Obviously, I have rose quartz because I want that love and comfort whilst I sleep. I sleep with turquoise is the traveler's stone. So it's good for traveling on physical journeys, but also for astral travel. Okay.
What
It
stone was that?
keeps you safe. Turquoise.
Okay,
Turquoise.
turquoise.
So it keeps you safe whilst you're traveling, whilst you're roaming the cosmos and the skies. It's going to keep you safe. Now, to amplify that energy, I also sleep with clear quartz.
Mhm.
Clear quartz amplifies the energies of the other stones. Now, depending on where the moon is, I sometimes sleep with, I quite often sleep with selenite. So selenite connects to a beautiful energy called the Moon Queen, but also it clears my aura. It keeps that clear, a level of purification that comes in. And then it really does depend on where I am in my journey of evolution and growth. So I've just gone through a period of sleeping with a K2 stone for astral travel. Sometimes I sleep with a big dragon crystal, smoky quartz crystal, if I need to clear dense energy, because, we're dreaming, we're astral traveling to go and work. We work whilst we sleep. We go and heal. We cross people over. We heal timelines. So I kind of get the nudge from my team. I feel an energy around my head before bed. And I'm either being told off for not doing something, or they're going to say, okay, you need to sleep with this crystal for X, Y, and Z. So, and the other thing that I sleep beside my bed is a huge rainbow moonstone sphere.
Mm.
So, rainbow moonstone is good for balancing the masculine and feminine. It's good for grounding. It's good for protection. And it's good for that communication with the higher realms. And as 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 someone who is deeply connected to the moon and a moon keeper, rainbow moonstone is my go-to. I've go-tos, but rose quartz, smoky quartz, rainbow moonstone, pearl. I quite like pearl for wisdom. I wear pearl a lot. But yeah, they're the ones that I sleep with under my pillow. And when I don't sleep with them under my pillow, when they have to go on the windowsill to bathe in the moonlight, I don't have a good night's sleep. It's like I'm missing part of me. Um, and then in the night, my husband, like if they've come out of their little pouch, my husband just like puts it back under my pillow as if to say, you're missing something. And I'm like, no, maybe you need it.
All right. So I've been keeping my crystals on my nightstand, so maybe I need to try them under my pillow.
Okay, and I have a little trick or tool for you. In our introduction, when we opened up the conversation, you said you both love oracle cards.
Yes.
Okay. Have you tried? We have a brilliant guy over here called Carl Gray. He's got a beautiful, him, oracle
Yes.
deck. So I like to light workers deck. It has all the masters in there and archangels. Before I go to bed, I shuffle the deck and I say, which ascended master or angel or light being would like to work with me whilst I sleep? And then I
Mm.
put that one card under my pillow. Now, here's the thing, here's the proof. So one night, this is where it comes back to dreams. So one night, I put the card Bridget under my pillow. And if you at Carl Gray's artwork, she is depicted in turquoise and bright green at the end. Now, I don't really wear much makeup, but in my dream, I had one eye with eyeshadow that was turquoise, and my other eye, the eyeshadow was bright green. Now, that is not confirmation enough that the Ascended Master was working with me in my sleep state. I don't know what is. So I urge you to try it. Put a card under your pillow and say, work with me tonight.
I am absolutely going to do that. I don't have that deck, but I have Dorian Virtue's Ascended Master deck, so I'm gonna play with that.
Perfect. Whatever resonates.
Yep.
Just give it permission and have patience. And even if you don't think it, I promise that if you ask them to be with you, they
Oh yeah.
will.
Yeah. Great stuff. I'm excited.
I actually have that deck and I love it. It's actually quite cool. So
It's beautiful, isn't it? I love it. Really resonates well
yeah,
with me.
yeah. So Rachel, what made you who you are today? For example, what was your biggest lesson, or what took most courage, or when did you stand up for something that mattered to you?
Oh, that's hard. Biggest lesson, what made me so I want to say that I think the biggest lesson of my journey from stepping on to this path is and it obvious really is having that absolute trust and faith that everything will work out. I remember it was in 2019. I was having a reading with a lady in America. I wanted confirmation of my starseed origins. Okay, so I have now found out I'm from Sirius, and we were having a conversation, and it was Good Friday. It was a very emotional day, again connecting to the Holy Family. And he was telling me about my lineage. I was crying and she was crying, and she threw into the conversation, oh, and you're going to have your own healing system. And I was like, no, I'm not, because like I can't meditate, I can't communicate. Um, like pigs are going to fly. That is just never going to happen. And then slowly I was sent beautiful souls, earth angels, that helped me to communicate, to channel. And it took a lot of trust, a lot of courage, and a lot of faith. to deliver something that has actually made me who I am, or acknowledge who I am, who I really am, and not to be afraid to stand up for what I believe in. And so my biggest lesson is to trust that I can deliver what is aligned for me, what is my soul's purpose, because we can all doubt, we can all think that we can't do something, but if we put our trust in source, in our divine teams, we always deliver. So my biggest lesson is to trust. And every time when I've brought something out, or I've said, I don't, how am I going to do it? Or I don't know anyone. There is always someone brought to your door. There is always support. It's not always obvious, but help is always there when we ask for it. And we have to ask for it. We have to put it out there. Like, if you want me to do this, you've got to give me the resources. You've got to guide me and show me. And they'll say, your teams will say, yeah, I can show you, but you've got to trust us. And I have patience. So patience is another big lesson that we need. It doesn't just happen for me in a second. It takes time. I seem to go, you know, 5 steps forward and 10 back, but it's about making that progression. So it's having that determination, that courage, that unwavering faith that you can deliver. It might not be perfect. It might not be what you had in mind. It might be different from what you intended it to be. But with trust and faith, you will absolutely get there.
It is so incredibly beautiful, because that's what I keep hearing, right? It's trust, patience, patience, trust, patience, patience, trust, patience, patience, trust. That's like the ongoing message. And most people I talk to, it's like trust. Like it's really, we're called to step more fully into trusting.
Surrender. I hate when I ask my team a question and they just give me that answer, trust. I'm like a little girl. I cross my arms, I huff. I'm like, because that's not the answer I want. I want the actual answer. I want help. I want, details, and details don't come that way for me.
Right.
We have to let go of that control. We have to, the more we chase, the more we're going to push it away. So we just have to, that classic line of let go, let God, and just surrender into that. But I don't know anyone who likes the word trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like surrender and trust is like, really? No. And I totally get it when you say, right, my bratty self is right there. It's like, nope. Right. I shared with you about when I was told about traveling with the gong. I'm like, no way. Right. So it's my first reaction. Right. And then it's like, I have to put it aside, and I'm like, okay, so how am I going to make it work for me? Right. Inside of this. Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to remember to ask for help. Like,
Mm.
we can only do so much, and the universe can only do so much, and we have to meet in the middle. There has to be a compromise, there has to be a balance. And I mean, a balance exists in all things, so it's a partnership more than anything else.
Yeah.
So good.
And I have a friend who says we never ask enough. We never ask for help enough. They're waiting, and we're like, nope. They're
No,
here, they're here, waiting for us to ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for, yeah.
absolutely. And they try and send us all the signs there is, and
Yeah.
yet sometimes we miss them, or sometimes we don't want to see them because we're not ready.
Well, and we
So
think the answer needs to look a certain way, so we're only looking for it over there when we're not open to the many possibilities of how it could possibly show up. And so we're constantly missing it, even though it's right in front of our face sometimes.
Absolutely. And quite often, during my waking state, I do miss it. So therefore it comes through my dream state. They get us one way or another, whether we
Yeah.
like it or not. The message will always come through.
Mhm.
Trust.
Yeah. I tell all my clients when I'm like coaching them, and you have to ask your angels, you have to ask for help, and then I'm like, and then you have to ask for them to open up your ears and your eyes so you can see and hear the messages, right? Like
Or feel it. You have that knowing. It took me a long time to acknowledge like how my body communicates with me. If something doesn't feel right, it goes straight to my stomach.
yeah.
Or if I've got something to say, I start coughing. So it's like listening to the wisdom of the body that's screaming out like, don't do it, or do it, or so it's listening to ourselves, listening to the ache of our as well as to what feels right and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Really good. Really
I
good.
usually ask for very, very clear signs.
Mm.
Like very clear signs, please, so I can see it. You gave me a
Yeah.
sign today. I might not have seen it. So can you please? I need it so clear.
Make it bigger.
Quite often I forget I'm talking or I'm channeling, and I can feel myself getting frustrated. And I'm like, I'm sorry for my frustration. It's a human thing, but could you just repeat that one more time so I can be clear? And they get to the point, it's like, I've said it 3 times, Rachel. I'm not saying it anymore. Just go with it.
So good. So Rachel, tell us about a time you took a chance on love. And it doesn't have to be romantic love.
Ah, I have, I have something I've done for love. Um, I want to say that um, when, okay, when my husband and I, we'd been married for 7 years, and I was pregnant, and he came to me and he said, I've been offered a job abroad, and um, I haven't. I'm not a prolific traveler. In fact, I get quite anxious traveling. Um, well, now I do. I now I'm more sensitive and old and fixed. But he said, what, I've got this beautiful opportunity for us to go to Ireland, and I'd like us to go. And there's me, kind of 7 months pregnant, thinking, if I go, I'm going to deny my parents of their first grandchild, and my husband's parents. And, you know, I have, if I go to, at the point we moved to Switzerland, the Swiss German part, I didn't speak German. And it was, it was a big deal. But I absolutely love my husband, even after 29 years of marriage. Um, I don't know why I said that laughing, by the way, I shouldn't. But I knew that uh, like we were meant to be together. I could have said, no, I'm staying here, you go and you commute. But that's not how we work as a unit. And like we have such a close relationship and connection that I knew that if we went to Switzerland, it would deeply enrich our lives, but also it brought my family closer. So it made me value my parents when I did go back and see them. Incidentally, the first time I lived in Switzerland, out there very long because I'd had Louisa, our daughter. I didn't have a very good birth experience. I had to have a cesarean. Then a month later, I had a blood. It's very traumatic. And I'd literally left my work on the Friday in London, moved country on the Monday, and then 3 months later, I was giving birth. It was a lot for a young girl without a support system. So I put my trust and my love in my husband. So then after about 9 months, my husband was offered a job back in London. So I said, right, okay, if you don't sign the contract, I will. So we moved back to London. And then 10 years later, Louisa then had her 11, she was 10, 11. My husband said, okay, we've got to go back to Switzerland. And in all this time, he was commuting back and forth to Switzerland. And it was really, it just didn't work. We just need to be together. So for the second time, we moved to Switzerland. We went to the French part, outside of Geneva. And we spent just under 4 years there, and we had a beautiful experience. It was full of ups and downs and challenges, but again, it's moving for love. And from going to Switzerland, my daughter has a great love of the outdoors, of nature. She was allowed to grow up freely without any pressure, to enjoy just being a normal girl without kind of like social media, and like embracing the nature and what Switzerland had to offer, and being in the mountains, and then family coming over to be with us. It gave us so many precious and loving moments. So, what did I do for love? Twice I moved country. Even though I'm a home girl, I did that for love because I knew that it would give us so much more.
It
That's
is
so
so
beautiful.
so powerful. It's having moved, right? And I was in a very similar situation where it was like, okay, do we do this or not? And he got offered a job here in the US, and it was like, who is he to ask that of me? But who am I to say no? Right. So it's finding that place where yes, I'm willing to try this.
Yes, and let me just say, I'm very stubborn as a Taurus. I can be very stubborn, but I just knew it was the right thing for us to have. We have such love between us that I wasn't going to ruin anything. I wanted to go to be with him, but actually it enriched us so much.
Yeah. And that you got to have that second chance, right? And I mean, Switzerland, you cross Switzerland in 3 hours, north, south, east, west, right? So mountains are everywhere. And I find Switzerland is just such it's not easy per se, but it's a quite calm place. And you have these huge sources of energy, like in the mountains and in the lakes, that are just so incredible.
It is, and I remember the house, because you rent houses when you're there, you don't buy. And the second time when we went, we rented a house, and it overlooked the lake. It was quite high, and um and the first time, and we had this huge room. It was beautiful, and it overlooked the lake. And I remember the first full moon, and this was before I even fully knew that, or what path I was destined to be on. I looked at the moon and I looked at the mountains, and Mont Blanc was straight ahead of us, and there was the water. The emotion, I just cried. It was such a homecoming. It was beautiful. Um, that I shall hold that memory within me forever. I'm very, very blessed and grateful to have had that experience.
And yeah, for me, it's the water is right there, right? It's like I grew up on a lake. It's like water is just so, so special. So yes, I'm a water baby too. So,
Yes, yes.
so Rachel, if you had a magic wand and you could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
Oh gosh, that is tricky. That is tricky. Okay. We all we all carry so much within us, and um and we never truly know what we're going through, or what we're experiencing, or what challenges we are going through. So I would give people the ability to look into people's hearts, like an X-ray vision, to see what we are carrying, to see the joys, not just the lows, to see the purity of the heart, but also to see like what has caused the heart of someone to be protective, to become untrusting. What have they gone through, so that then we can let go of that judgment and we can have more compassion and understanding. Because I don't know what my neighbour's going through. She doesn't know what I'm going through. And it's not something, it's not a natural thing for us to when, if you meet your friend for a coffee and she says, "Oh, how are you?" "Oh, I'm fine, thanks." Like, you're never truly gonna reveal what's in your heart or what's going on. So I think if we had that ability where we could all like switch a little switch on our glasses or in our eyes that projects a beam of light, where you could look into someone's heart and just say, okay, they need some more loving, they need some more understanding, they need a hug, they need something. Or if it's all beautiful and glowing, you just think, I need some of that. Like,
Mm.
give me some of that. It's a two-way thing. So I want to be able to look into people's hearts instead of like, I mean, as healers, we're empaths, so we feel everything. But wouldn't it just be easier if we could just flick a switch and just, oh, look, that's what's going on there. Let's have more understanding. Let's have more compassion between everyone.
Yeah. It reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like a thing you could put on your refrigerator, like for your partner, and be like, I'm happy, and you could just put it there, right? And this way, if you don't want to talk about it, you can at least put it up there and be like, and then when you come home, you know what mood your partner is in, right? And I remember I saw it ages ago and thought, like, kind of dumb, but now in hindsight, I'm like, maybe really cool, right? Like, it at least starts the conversation, or at least prepares you for whatever state
So
they're in,
cool.
right? Um,
So cool, so cool. And parents, parents are great ones for communicating. They don't want to share anything, particularly of my parents of their generation. And so it'd be really nice just to say, let me help you. Let me see what's going on. You don't have to carry this.
yeah.
It's a
Uh,
beautiful image that we could actually see into people's hearts and see, yes, all their beauty and their love, but as well what prevents the light and what's piled up there that they're dealing with,
Exactly.
right?
What are dragged through the lifetimes, the incarnations that have caused it to be so overwhelmed and heavy. And we all have stuff, but I think that would be a really cool thing to do, to
yeah.
have.
Mm, so good. Oh, yes. I just get geeked out about these possibilities, right? Like, what would a world look like where we're really being there for each other, right? Or we're open to being vulnerable and letting people help us, right? Like, that's
I
what I
mean,
see
it's
with all of that, right? If we had that meter that people could read and we could be like, oh, you're a little deficient, let me come help you. Or, oh, you have extra, I could use some of your energy
we
today.
we we do that, like it, in everyday, in social media, in the jobs that we do. We do have that ability. We are there for people, for that support. For some people it comes naturally, for others it doesn't. And there are some people on this path that just out consciously doing it. And there's others that really need that support, that need that extra help. But it's something we are, humanity is waking up, and we are be kinder to ourselves. Or even, it's not even to look in someone else's heart, look in our own hearts. What do we need? Like, work upon ourselves. Like, let's look at our own hearts. And then obviously, like water, that ripples out. If we look after ourselves, then that's a good place to start as well. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because when you're living in your truth, people get lit up by it when they see you. And so
Yes.
the more you're living your truth and being lit up by your possibility, the more people are like, ooh, I want a little more of that. And so it does ripple out and inspires people, and hopefully they start
But
making.
it takes courage to live in your truth. and to let
Absolutely.
go of that judgment and not worry about what people think of you. And it's something that, you know, if you're stepping onto this path, that it takes time to adjust. I remember, I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook because it's necessary evil. It really has its wonderful uses, but other times it has a very negative aspect. And I remember, you know, I just had my personal profile, and, you know, all of a sudden it said I was, you know, interested in going to this spiritual event, or I was doing this, or I'm learning. And then people, you know, the old friends that you had, because many fall away, start to think, well, you know, who is this? Who is this person? That's not the Rachel that I knew. She didn't do this, or she wasn't into that. And then, you know, slowly that old layer gets released, and maybe that person who liked the old version of you, that one that maybe wasn't in gratitude or wasn't so nice or didn't say words that were all kind, because we're all human, you know, they will fall away because your vibration changes. And I found my journey through faith um was about acknowledging who I was and not being afraid to show people that this is what I do. Okay, I speak to people that aren't there. I can connect to spirit. I see spirit. um I believe in angels. I believe in fairies. I work with dolphins and unicorns and dragons. I mean, you know, to someone who is not on our path, that is madness. That is utter madness. But I'm now not afraid to say, this is what I do. You either like it, or there's the door. You
Okay.
get this, don't you? You get that.
I get it. So when Martina and I first started on this journey, we were doing a class, Awakening the Healer Within, and Martina put her hands on me. She sent energy up my feet, and I got sent back to a past life where I was being pressed to death as a witch. And and Martina got me to the very end of it, and it was like, what is the message you need to get out of this? And the message was it was safe to me to be a healer in this lifetime and speak myself as a healer in this lifetime. But it still took me many years from that point to still say I'm a healer. Saying I was a massage therapist was very safe. Declaring myself a
Mm.
healer was not a very safe space. I've gotten to the other side of that, but yeah, you know, it's not always easy to.
Because of fear of persecution, because of fear
Right,
of judgment,
right.
and being held back and having the witch wound of, you know, that suppression, of not allowed to speak up, because it's all fear-based.
It's all fear based. Yeah.
And I find there's always the next level to that, right? It's like, okay, I'm a life coach, and then it's like, okay, I'm playing the gong and I'm doing angelic Reiki, and then there's Jesus at the feet of the person and Jesus at the head of the person. And I'm like, how can he be? And it was so silly because he turns around, it's like, duh. And I'm like, yeah, of course, right? Because it's Jesus. He can be wherever he wants. But it was like, do I dare talk about that? And then it was the next level was light language. I'm like, light language? I cannot tell people I do light language. What will they think, right? And
Wow, amazing.
it feels like there's, and then there's the next level, right? So
Mm.
and they came pretty close together, like the gong with angelic Reiki and light language was shortly thereafter, and I was like, oh, that's just to normalize the gong and the angelic Reiki, so I can now, you know, so it's like, oh, that's not a big deal. Okay, now I get to deal with the next one, right?
And it's also, I mean, having that, you do light language, but then it's doing it in front of people. Like, you know, can you do it? Like, you can do it on your own in your own room when no one's watching, but then you have to take it out, don't you? How did you feel when you had to do it with someone, or did it just come out?
Well, you know, I mostly I work with, like, I let it out when I'm with people that know that. right? And now I'm just like publicly speaking this on the podcast, right? But
Sorry.
no, it's all good. But most of the times it's just like when I'm playing the gong, it comes out. But it's, you know, like I keep it quite low because I record the sessions for people. But yeah, it's like it's just the next level of, hey, I'm the weird guy. It's okay, right? It's okay to be whoever you are and whatever it is, and to normalize that. And then I believe there's the next level, right? And I imagine it's the same for every person. It's just like embracing the next version of us, or allowing
Yes.
it to be there, right? It's like, yeah.
It wasn't so long ago. I mean, obviously, my husband knows what I do for a living, and he has a very muggle job. He works in London, and he must be on a spiritual path because he's married to me. There is no denying that. It wasn't that long ago. He walked into the kitchen and he was like, Rach, I can smell burning. Like, where is it coming from? And he was like a dog trying to sniff the air, trying to find that burning smell. And that day I had been teaching Water Mastery Level 2, where we invoke Helios and Vesta and Metatron and Sandalphon. And I knew that the smell of burning was Metatron. And there was a certain point in our hallway between our lounge and our dining room that he walked through, and that's where he smelt this scent. And said to him, "Oh, you're smelling an archangel. You're smelling Archangel Metatron." And when I said that, all of the hairs stood up on his arm, like there was no denying this. And he was like, "What is that? What is happening?" I said, "Oh, so you've just had your first conscious interaction with an archangel." And then so long after, he was sitting watching TV and he said, "You know what? I must be really tired because I keep seeing this really big orange hue light to the side of me. I must go and get my eyes checked out." And I'm like, I think that's Archangel Metatron. Like, whatever. And so slowly he's starting to come online, but it's those layers, those little beginnings, those little shoots that it comes for us all. We all have to start somewhere, but those layers, and then gradually, I'm hoping it'll get more and more. We will see. Watch this space.
Mm. And who knows how much he's truly experiencing. That's just the part he's willing to let you know about too, right? Like he could be experiencing way more. So
Absolutely, yeah. His brain is always really busy, so it's in the quiet moments that he might. But he does see and he does feel. And living in a house full of gongs and crystals and energy, he cannot not.
yeah, yeah, it's so brilliant.
Beautiful. So, Rachel, tell us about your business. Tell us what you do, how people can find you.
Okay, so I run an accredited training school called Moonlight Rose School of Mastery. I'm already teaching one healing system called Water Mastery, which is my channeled, which was channeled to me from Mother Isis, Archangel Gabriel, Seraphim, Rachael. Um, and that is about it's about divine balance. It's with all fluid transporting systems of the body to flush the body of emotional and physical pollutants. But from past life, water carries memory. So we work with beautiful light beings, silver blue dolphins of Lacume, to restructure and enhance all water molecules of the body. We work with sound and vibration. That's in the first level. In the second level, we work with we work at a soul level with Saint Germain. We work with Master Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Water Mastery carries the essence of the Christ Magdalene energy. I hold, like you do, the rose codes from the rose lineage, and it's about bringing the body into divine balance. We're still working with fire and the masculine and feminine, but we're balancing the sun and the moon within to create that harmony. And we heal at a soul level, and we work with the violet flame. So I teach that to healing practitioners around the world. You know some of them. So I'm really blessed with that. I'm also about to launch in May this year my second healing system, which is called Mother Mastery. Mother Mastery, again, is with the Holy Family, Master Jesus, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, White Eagle, Anubis, dragons, unicorns. And we are working to heal the divine feminine timeline, the traumas we have accumulated through womanhood in our womb spaces, the suppressed divine feminine within. We're working to release that. Again, we work with the moon, the sound and vibration. I also am launching later this year Moonlight Prescriptions, which is holy anointing oils that are just infused the frequencies of energies and love. It's like healing in a bottle. So there's lots coming this year. I have a website, www.rachaeledgley.com. Not very original, but it's one that I can remember. I'm on Instagram as Rachael_Edgley UK, and just you'll find me if my light resonates, well, we'll just find each other. And it's just a remembrance from when we used to be together in Atlantis or Egypt or Lemuria. We just come back together to work together. And I help people like fully step onto the path, but through the element of water. Water wisdom. I'm called Moonlight Rose School of Mastery, one because I hold the rose codes, one I hold moonlight codes. So I kind of anchor a lot of moonlight energy for balance into Mother Earth. But I want people to achieve self-mastery, to have that love, understanding, balance, to speak their truth, to have forgiveness, all the really hard lessons that we need to learn. As my students walk this path, I walk the path of healing with them. So yeah, that's what I do. I teach my own healing systems, and I teach angelic Reiki, but that little door has closed for me now. And I've got over 60 practitioners in water mastery, and that's only been going a couple of years. So they're trickling in, but that light and love is rippling far and wide.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to find out more. We're going to put everything in the notes. Yeah, so just go check it out. Just read the website. It's just really so exciting. I know I will keep engaged with you. I imagine Christina will as well.
Honestly, it's been so wonderful to connect with you and to your beautiful energy and to have this beautiful discussion. And it's been a real privilege, and I'm deeply humbled that you've wanted me on your beautiful podcast. And there's many inspiring people that have come before me on this podcast. So I hope everyone checks it out, because it really is to connect with you both. So thank you.
Thank you. So yes, please check out Rachel's website. And if you want to find out more about us, you can also check out our Linktree profiles in the notes. And just thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, Rachael. It was such a pleasure to be with you. I don't really know what other words to use. It was just so precious to be here with you today.
I could hang out with you all day. I don't think this conversation would ever end.
Yeah, same
Yeah,
here.
we never want these to end. We really geek out, and we're just honored to spend this time with you today. And we can't wait to study with you in the future. So
Yes, absolutely.
I look forward to that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
hmm.
So for all of you out there, thank you for being here, for listening. And if you love this, please leave us a review. Please share with somebody who might need to hear this. And please always remember that you are extraordinary. You rock. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
Bye for now.